Good morning, good afternoon to wherever you are in Scotland, of the Alpha Team of Scotland. I want to bring something very important to you that needs to be addressed. As many as you know about the change of the passport color and so on, I want to bring my personal thoughts, my own opinion as far as the passport deal goes. First of all, Scotland will always be considered a blue passport as far as it goes. Theresa May is now starting to run her gob in the worst way possible. And now she's starting to show how much stupid she really has become. However, the issue is that she has violated the terms of the agreements of the European Union agreement. Part of her agreement was to not intimidate or try to use any form of scare tactic or scaremongering against Scotland. She has just shown how much she can push her weight in lies. Ruth Davidson is in the same category as Theresa May. However, the issue that remains as an unsolved mystery is how do you go about putting Theresa May in her place as much as Ruth Davidson? There are many questions that are still left unanswered, so we need to work on this as a team. I personally would like to thank all of you who has been supporting this group and keeping it together. It wasn't always easy for me to operate this by myself. For those who have passports, my passport is blue. I have a United States of America passport and it's blue. However, why can't it be just plain blue? The idea of being black was a long time ago. And when it expired, they clipped the upper right corner of your passport. But what Theresa May, being as dumb as a brick, has failed to acknowledge this, that for every passport that's issued, it's considered an electronic device inside the passport book. And this is something that Theresa May has ignored. She has neglected this, and we know this. The one problem that everybody is going to wind up facing, and it's going to be one of the most toughest hardcore scenes yet, Theresa May has also violated the rights of the people of Scotland again. Therefore, because of the change in the color of the passport, many questions are raised. How is this going to affect the UK citizens? Okay, the European Union citizens and the English citizens of England are going to be severely affected as far as it goes. However, there are not many people who understand this principle. The principle behind all this is to try to manipulate and to try to con her way into getting her way about power grabbing. As I said before in previous live broadcasts, now I'm making a YouTube video to prove my point. Many people have failed to acknowledge this. They have failed to accept this fact. Those who voted for the Tories have now realized they made the biggest mistake. It's never too late to change your mind from no to yes for Scotland's independence. However, as far as it goes, Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, had told Theresa May where she could stick her so-called passport color, okay, where the sun don't shine. This is something that a lot of people are now asking me questions about. How is this going to affect people? I'm not really sure how much it will affect anybody, but it has one major effect on you, is how you're going to have your passport and how it's going to look. An independent Scotland passport will be the only solution, and not to have Northern Ireland, the royalty of Ireland or Wales or England, just plain Scotland. And it needs to be blue. Because of the fact that the Scottish flag, as you see here, the background is blue. Okay? That's the color that should be the passport. Mine is blue, as I stated. However, we don't want to push and shove beyond recognition. We have had more than our shares of bumps and bruises, but Theresa May doesn't realize that for every time she knocks us Scots down, she's going to wind up seeing that we're going to get back on our feet. And this is something that she's more afraid of. Excuse me. The Scots of Scotland are more tolerable, but their patience, like mine, is running out. And Theresa May's time and her days are numbered. So she's going to need to face some seriousness in this attitude. I do not impose a direct assault against Theresa May, but I propose that if a civil war was to ever come out, it's more likely that the civil war will break out in London, because that's where the problem, the root of the problem of the evilness sits. It's this in general. As I researched further, more details of this information could not have come at a better time. With Christmas just around the corner, she has lied and contradicted herself about the homeless children that's going to be directly involved. How is this going to affect with passports? How much of the taxpayers' money is going to be invested into this kind of deal? Do you realize that the more taxpaying money is going to come out, the more poorer the people of Scotland is going to become because of Theresa May's selfishness, greedy, rude, and obnoxious? She's wrong. Let's face up to these facts. Theresa May is a criminal, and a lot of people believe that she is. After an extensive of up to 6 months of research, many questions I kept at wondering, why is Theresa May so wicked, so evil, and so on? Well, a website link that just been exposed onto Twitter, and now it's been all through Facebook, is the fact that her father, in research, had found this out, that her father was a pedophile, a former Catholic priest, and in fact, he was considered a serial killer. Question is that why is Theresa May starting to act more like her father? While Theresa May was trying to erase everything in Google regarding to her father, the Rights to Free Information Act cannot be overruled and cannot be neglected or forgotten. The reason why we need this information is because of the fact we believe, by strength of all kinds, that Theresa May is in fact a serial killer. She is a pedophile, along with the fact that she had deleted, along with Amber Rudd, to erase all the database regarding to all the child abuse and pedophile cases in regards in relation to Westminster. Westminster knew about this, but they're now running scared. Whether or not they deleted the information and now they're working on the passport, they're not focusing on what's more important. All they care about is now the new passport change. So, in other words, she's using this to throw off to the side of what truth is. If you people out there with research, you might be surprised what you might find some information. Many people have asked me, why am I being, so strong on this issue? The reason I'm so strong on this issue is because I, myself, was molested by a pedophile here in the United States of America. That's just common truth right there. I won't lie, I got nothing to hide. But the reality sense is why do so many kids are winding up being more afraid to tell the truth? Because of the fact they've lost their confidence and trust in certain adults. And this is something that we need to work on. The passport in connection could lead to more coverage of their crimes in pedophile and every child abuse case as time goes on. We cannot allow this. As I've said before and say it again, We have to make sure that we are in the right direction, that we aim directly at this. We need to target them, and we need to take legal action by any means necessary. The reason for independence is so that we don't have to be under English rule any longer. This is the biggest part of the problem. I understand you people are upset about this, but I'm not going to lie to you. With Christmas just less than 2 days away, you have to look at how much these kids have suffered enough. Your kids and our kids, our grandchildren, our nieces, nephews, and so on, they're all going to suffer because of the fact they're losing grip to stand strongly against the English government's proposal. And while Theresa May has no heart, she's cold-hearted, she's a murderer, a thief, a con, and now she's trying to play this cat and mouse game of, with the passport color. Listen, why don't we just come to one agreement? Stick to one color, blue. Scotland is blue, the flag is blue, so what's the problem? The problem is because Theresa May is money hungry. She's selfish, and she has shown just how much incompetent she really is. She is mentally unstable and unfit to lead a country. This is why we need to vote in what is called the no confidence petition, which means that we decide that she's not confident. We have no confidence in her. She's totally chaotic. She is maybe considered psychotic. She's mentally insane, and now she's going to try to sell out all our services and privatize it secretly through Brexit, secret talks in regarding to our services, and privatize it with the United States, including Donald Trump. As I said before, Donald Trump is no better when it comes to being selfish, greedy. He's very racist, very fascist, and indeed he is. And in fact, let's not forget one of the comments that he made that puts Theresa May in a tight spot as being as racist, including Ruth Davidson, saying that Scotland is considered a slum state. Or how about this one? Ruth Davidson says that she sees us Scots as thieves and vandals. Where's her proof? She has no evidence to prove this. What I'm trying to say is, folks, is that she's talking more out her ass. And everybody knows she is. We all know this. This is something that cannot be overlooked. And in fact, what about David Mundell, who's no better? He says Scotland was extinguished by the 1707 Union. Let me make this perfectly clear about this. The Union was not considered as part of a government takeover by England. The purpose of the Union of 1707 was a treaty between Scotland and England regards to exporting and importing goods of natural resources like gas and coal, wood, and so on. This is something that they've done. The Union had lied, and this was the cause of the uprising of the last of the Jacobites caused by the Highland clearance. When you feel betrayed, it's time for you to take a stand. I've been there, and I've seen enough of this. It breaks my heart to see how Scotland has suffered enough over the years, and we now need to take consideration of what we have faced. Most people don't understand this. The reason they don't understand this is because they're refusing to accept this. The people known as the pretend wannabe Scots are also the pretend wannabe independent freedom fighters, like me. The Scottish resistance and the Alpha Team of Scotland had collaborated together as an ally to put our feet down and say, we've had enough. It's time to end the English ruling, and there's no excuse to why this can't be done. I'm not here to argue the point. I'm not here to say who's right and who's wrong. However, the English government is more wrong because of the fact that David Mundell, like Myrtle Fraser, are considered the two big, and Ruth Davidson, are considered the three biggest forms of racists in the world. And in fact, Myrtle Fraser doesn't know how to keep his big mouth shut on Twitter. He's been posting a bunch of lies. He's been posting a lot of negative garbage that relates to all this. How do you explain this? It's beyond me, but let's consider this. Has Scotland really almost gone to the dogs? Yes, only because of the fact that those who voted for the Conservative Party are the ones that's going to pay the price heavy. There are people who support the Tories, but let me remind you that prior to the Highland clearance, the last of the Jacobites clan, the Tories back in the 18th century, including Westminster, were both involved in the Union ordeal. Therefore, that puts them in a tight position that they are denying that this Highland clearance ordeal never happened. It did. And a lot of people who don't understand this, whose ancestors had betrayed Scotland, had sold Scotland out for like 30 pieces of silver and power. And Myrtle Fraser is another dotard who needs to shut his mouth on this. He has no idea what he's talking about. And in fact, he's never won a single election since 1997 to the present. And for all these years, he's been sitting in the Scottish Parliament. How the hell did he manage that? Well, it's real simple. Ruth Davidson appointed him that position. And ever since that time, he's been running his mouth, spitting out racial hate and discontent. He's been lying. He claims himself to be a lawyer. If he's a lawyer, then why is he going around lying about his ancestors, who was involved in the Highland clearance? As I said before, and I'll say it again with no regrets, the problem you're going to be facing is that all the sure names that had sold Scotland out to England are the ones who gave up their birthright and so on. Blair McDougall is another dotard you have to watch for. I'll tell you the reason why. The problem with McDougall is he talks big, he talks tough, and the reality sense is when he turned around and said England definitely has free speech, I confronted him and I never got a response back. This is what I had to say to him. I said, then you want to tell me why was it that BBC, ITV, STV News, and some others had all said that there were thousands of people being arrested for speaking up on social media against the government? Are you going to tell me that this is not true? Are you saying that England still has free speech? I don't think so. Because the fact is, I told him, I says, look, McDougall, you're lying. You're making this up, and you're using every type of brainwashing, psychological psychoticness of deceiving the people, and that's what you're good for. Why don't you answer that question? Well, let me tell you, he never answered that question. He never responded back because he knew I had him right by the throat. Not physically, just a figure of speech. Most people need to understand that if you're going to stand up for independence, you cannot, under any condition, believe anything that the English government has to say on this. Because they'll deceive you, they'll rob you blind, and you have to be able to tell the difference between a lie and truth. It's that simple. All right, so to end this video, I'm going to remind you, with Christmas coming up, keep in thoughts of those who are suffering. Show any support you can. And also remember, research upon this passport ordeal, because what you're going to wind up facing is more competition than ever. So thank you for watching.